What's up? You didn't say it. You got to say it. What's up? Oh, man.
You're too young for that commercial.
I'm too young. Commercial. It's scary movie.
No, it comes from a commercial. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, no. What came first, chicken or the egg? What did it? Did the commercial come first, or did scary movie come
I don't
first?
know if I'm wrong. Then I'm going to get eviscerated, and I don't want to do that.
So. I mean, I have never heard that this ever came from a commercial. It comes from scary
Justin,
movie.
Yes, it used to be like a football commercial, a Bud Light or Bud White drinking a Bud. Was that? Can you get to the nitty gritty?
What's going on, everybody? It's we're doing a live stream. This isn't a regular episode. We're just hanging out. We're doing a live stream. And hello, Nikki Snacks. You're one of my best friends in the entire world. We talk on the phone every single day. I love you very much with all my heart.
Mutual feeling.
Thank you. I was waiting for the ditto. I'm excited about John Harbaugh. You're nervous about John Harbaugh. I'm choosing to not get nervous about John Harbaugh. We're going to talk about a lot of the updates that we kind of got today. But first, you said there was news that kind of just happened. So we'll Quentin Tarantino this bitch. We'll work our way backwards. What is the news that apparently just happened that I don't know?
There is, yes. I texted you this morning. I'm very nervous. Let's get that out of the way, right? I texted you. I said I'm very nervous, and you did say I choose not to be nervous, which I respect. God bless you. But I'm nervous. So Ian O'Connor tweeted, "My understanding is the Giants just finished dinner with John Harbaugh, and the coach should be getting on his way to lovely Teterboro Airport for the flight back to Baltimore." He then said, this is a tweet after, "Now word from someone very close to the process that the Giants are still right now talking to John Harbaugh. Hold that flight at Teterboro. Play enter Sandman. This is getting nuts in kind of a good way."
Oh, yeah, because they were saying like Diana Rossini said like it's everything is expected to die down, and that was around 5 o'clock.
Yeah,
that she put that out.
Yep.
That things were expected to die down, but then the sleuths of the internet, which I love today, Doug Analytics and the like, the people that are pulling up all these the flight information, being like the plane hasn't left, the plane is still there, and I don't think the Giants are going to fly him up from Baltimore to here to not fly him back, and the plane was still there.
So that's what kind of gave me good belief today, like that he wouldn't leave the building, is that Tish brought the private jet to fly him in. Thinking, I mean, if I'm putting myself in Steve Tish's shoes, that means he's not leaving here without being my next head coach. Why would he fly him here? And then what? Okay, John, go get your own flight to go back home to apparently meet
with... They would not do that.
That's what I'm saying. Like
that's why before I recorded this, I saw that people were saying, people are saying that the meeting has ended and things have ended, but the plane hasn't left and the plane is still there.
That is what's being reported.
And there was conversation on, are you blocked from seeing certain information? I know nothing about that shit. I know nothing about tracking planes and all that kind of stuff.
Neither do I. And I think Clem said it best when he replied to Doug Analytics' tweet.
Yeah.
He said, what is it, Doug Planalytics or something?
Yeah, Doug and remember Doug's original username that I would read on mailbags, where it's like, I would go uppercase this, lowercase that.
Yeah,
yeah. I told him today that he should have just kept it, because it would have been funny if Mike Garafolo had to credit his original handle, which was just absurd.
Yeah, well, beyond belief. But no, I mean, just on the surface, man, we were talking before on my way home from work, like you said, we always do. Right now, it's kind of our Super Bowl, and I don't think we're sitting here saying John Harbaugh is the greatest coach of all time. Like that's, yeah. I'd like to preface by saying that.
By the way, I hate to interrupt you. 10 minutes ago, the plane has taken off from Teterboro.
Wait. But no, this was less than 10 minutes ago. Then what is Ian O'Connor saying?
Well, I'm sure he's getting information, but Doug and everybody is tracking the plane live. I'm sure Ian O'Connor is getting maybe if he's still, he could still be there, but the plane could be going to pick up his family. All right.
I didn't think of it that way because I'm telling you, in cohesive order, this is what Ian O'Connor has said. So it was 28 minutes ago. I don't need to repeat it unless anybody's joined in. My understanding is Giants finished dinner. John Harbaugh, he's leaving Teterboro with the flight back to Baltimore. Now word from someone very close to the process. This is 16 minutes apart.
Yeah.
So who do I believe? Doug Planalytics or Ian O'Connor, who's been literally on top of it?
I think there's a world where you believe both. But part of me still really thinks that he'll still want to maybe meet out of just respect and reverence. He's a man of his word. I still want to meet with the Falcons. I still want to meet with the Titans. I'm just going to do that. And I even took it as a good sign that he was going to do that from Baltimore and they were going to go to him. Yeah. Versus he was going to go to them. Like he kind of came to us.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And we were talking about that. Like, it seems almost like a courtesy thing, whatnot. Like, okay, I'll interview you, but you come to me. Whereas we just held him from whatever time that was this morning.
10 a.m. And then Diana Rossini put out 5, but apparently it went on to after 7.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't really know what to believe here and there. I do want to give a shout out, though, if you don't mind.
Please.
Is that all right? I just got to pull up. At Anthony Betts, Betts.
Yeah, Anthony Betts has been
all over it, man.
Storm.
Yeah, and he deserves some credit because everything he says is so far checked out. So
yeah,
I DM'd him a couple nights ago. I think it was Sunday night, just like late, and I DM'd him. I was like, dude, you kind of been all over this. Are you fucking with me or not? Like, I don't need to be fucked with here. I need John Harbaugh as a Giants coach.
And you're saying this for your own mental health and your own selfish reasons, not
correct,
because you got a show or anything like that. Because you may kill me if this doesn't happen.
No, 100%. If I do this for nothing, you're dying and somebody else is too. At some point, not by me.
So what did he say? Is he like, yeah, this is like legit? I mean,
no, he assured me. He goes, he's very, very confident. Everything he's heard that it's all good. Now, again, I'm not going to sit here and say that's a Woj bomb or something, but even Ian O'Connor is like tweeted, like they're all hearing the same thing. You interviewed Gary Myers today, which was fantastic, and Gary's been all over it. So
I want to get to common sense too, instead of just speculating and sources and all that kind of stuff. We had a conversation on the phone. We have conversations every day, but we had a conversation on the phone today about common sense about the Falcons and the Titans when it comes to the Giants situation. But before we even get to that, in case you're not on the fake world that is Twitter, the fake/real world that is Twitter, I have to tell myself that it's fake, or else I would go crazy. I want to give a summary of the events of today and then maybe even this week, because what this week has been, this has been like the Giants fan. It's almost like if we Snacks wrote a fan fiction book about the Giants looking for their next head coach. The Giants try and find their next head coach by Nikki Snacks and Justin Pennick. We would have, oh my God, Tom Coughlin is calling the former Super Bowl champion head coach that was there for 18 years. And since 2008 has the most yards per carry in the NFL and has allowed the least amount of yards per carry, has like 2 franchise-ish quarterbacks and Joe Flacco that won them a Super Bowl, and then Lamar Jackson, you can make connections and parallels to the quarterbacks they have now. Like literally, like you couldn't write the prospect of getting a coach better than Harbaugh. But then let's include the Giants fan fiction shit of Eli Manning's part of the pitch, Tom Coughlin's part of the pitch. Even somehow Brian Dable has been a huge part of the pitch despite firing him. Like, this is like fan fiction. And now we get him in the building and we kidnap him. And remember how funny it was when Kenny Golladay had his sleepover and his kidnapping, and how fun. I mean, this is the funnest thing, the funnest part, besides actually winning the few games that we've won since 2021 and landing Kenny Golladay. This has literally been one of the funnest days of being a Giants fan because it's similar to that of we were just like, oh my God, Kenny Golladay, is he sleeping over? Is he still beating with the Giants? What the hell's happening? Do you remember how fun that was?
I will never forget it. And I'll never forget
John
where I was.
Harbaugh.
Yep. No, you're right. You're right. But this is 20 times better. Like this is, we know is a game. Like the fact that we're relying on planes watching and whatnot and all
Chris
these
Mara
things.
gets dinner, goes to Baltimore and gets dinner, and we're all sitting here being like, "What the fuck does he do?" That's the one part of the Gary Myers interview that I wanted to ask him more about Chris Mara because he's been around forever, like Gary, and I knew that he would have had just like a unique perspective and relationship with the Maras and like especially Maras and the ownership, right?
Yeah.
Because of how long he's been around and how long they've been around, right? So I kind of wanted to ask him, like, Chris Mara, as the years have gone on, his title is very ambiguous. Where, remember there was the reports that really trashed him about how he left the NFL draft early to go watch his fucking horses, and everybody lost their minds about that. Yep. Rightfully so. If you're going to be a member of the quote unquote front office and be part of football decisions with football operation shit, then you can't be leaving day 3 of the draft to go watch your horses. All right. No. But that's apparently what happened. So then after 2021, even if the horse
won, doesn't matter.
Did it win?
I have no idea.
Oh,
I'm just saying, even if it doesn't,
text Mike Francesa, let me know. But then, like, after 2021 and after the nepotism kind of gets exposed and kind of really called out by the media and Mara gets grilled over it, then after that point, it seems like over the early Joe Schoen years that Chris Mara took a step back. Like, you really haven't seen him all that much. But then, snap your finger, we go down to Mobile. Oh, my God, he's there. And then you start to see him a little bit more. I'm pretty sure he even had a title change that was then quickly changed back briefly. So his role has been very ambiguous. But his role and what he does is now being brought back into question because he's been physically around more and with John Mara's health. And Gary Myers said on today's show that probably would have been John Mara going to Baltimore if he wasn't sick and if that wasn't at a certain stage at which it's at, right? Which I think that should give some context clues of maybe overall John Mara's health if he can't
where he's at. Yeah.
Right. Context clues.
But in fairness, from what we read, because that's all we can kind of say on a live stream is what we read. And Mike Nixon, by the way, Anthony's handle on Twitter is @AnthonyBetts. BETSS. So there you go to follow him.
All right, here we go. I'm going to play 23 minutes ago, Ian Rappaport. I'm going to play this.
Yeah, it sure does. And you're right. I mean, it certainly seems like John Harbaugh will make a decision, pick where he wants to go. Is it the New York Giants? Is it the Tennessee Titans? Perhaps even the Atlanta Falcons, and everyone else will follow it after that. And sometimes that happens with this coaching carousel. You have one big fish, and no one is going to make a move until that fish is caught, I guess you would say. And so what the Giants did, Judy, was full court press on John Harbaugh. Jackson Dart was in the building. You had the building basically cleared out except for the really important people running the search, which was Giants owners, which was Joe Schoen, which is Tim McDonald. You had all of the people involved in this search very explicitly dealing with John Harbaugh, giving him a tour, trying to do everything they can to sell Harbaugh on the Giants. Now, they have also been doing this for the last several days on the phone. They've been doing this in person. Harbaugh, of course, met with Chris Mara, one of the owners, a couple of days ago at his house. Everything the Giants can do to sell him. We will see over the next couple of days if it works. One thing is very clear. The Giants seem willing to do whatever Harbaugh wants to do because that is how badly they want him. We just have not heard yes or no definitively yet. And so we will wait.
The nice thing is that this doesn't seem like a matter of money. Like Gary Myers is like, this is not a matter of money. Julia Koch money. Thank you very much. I love you, Julia Koch. Give me a call.
They got some cash here now.
Yeah, I mean, give me a call. She's a good-looking woman too. I don't know if you've ever looked her up.
Come on.
We're fans of this team. We do our research.
Yeah. Good-looking woman. No, it's not a matter of money. Ian just gave me nothing. That was
that was a little bit of a nothing burger because I saw Raphael in the chat. I think put new tweets So I'm wondering what those new. I don't know.
Well, I
really
saw that
know what
too.
those new speeds
So,
are.
Raphael, can you reply with what have you seen? Because we're kind of on
from
an
who?
island here.
From who? No, but I love it. I love it. So yeah, so that was this morning. Dog Analytics and some other Giants pages that are around 8:15 start plane watch and tracking planes, which is just freaking awesome. Doug and some others found Steve Tish's plane. The sleuths of the internet are awesome. This is almost like, you know how you have women in our lives that if you just give them, you can even give them like a first or a last name and they'll find somebody immediately, like on the internet. I feel like this is what this is. They find this plane is landed in Baltimore at around 8:15. And then by around 9:45, 10 o'clock, it's in Teterboro, which is about 10 minutes away from the Giants facility. It's right by Hackensack. So then from around 10 a.m. to 10:30, and then it was initially reported by Diana Rossini, 5:05, but then Ian O'Connor is now saying that it wasn't until around 7:30 that he was still actively in the building, and now the plane has taken off from Teterboro. It's going back to Baltimore, but from Ian O'Connor's report, is he still in the building? Is he on that plane? Where the hell is he? Harbaugh watch.
This is insane.
I love it.
I mean, I'm all for it too. I tweeted out today. I said this is the first time in a long time the Giants have made me feel real emotion. Because when was the last time we really? He says he is fish.
So he is on the plane, and Jordan Schultz tweeted he's meeting with the Titans tomorrow. Can I tell you what I learned about myself today? I want to tell you what I learned about myself today.
What?
I thought through all these years of losing and even doing this show, I thought I handled myself pretty well of not letting this team impact my emotions and my well-being, right? I thought I could separate it.
Good for you.
But you want to know what? Today, I have been in such a good mood. I am so energetic. I am so like, again, regardless of if this happens or not, I'm just enjoying this process.
Is it just
because
the
it's
thrill,
fun?
the thrill of it?
Oh yeah, I think that's what it is. But being not apathetic about this team and being like, I'm excited by what may happen. Not even that it did happen, but I'm excited about what could happen. I didn't necessarily think in the moment of when this team would be losing, and then you got to come on here and you got to work the games and then talk about how they suck, and then blah, and then it's just over, right? I didn't think it impacted. I thought I could unplug and like separate it. I have learned today that I think I have done a horrible job at it because I have had so much energy. I've had so much enthusiasm. I wanted to come on here and do this live stream and not struggle and stumble my way through it and figure out what to say because I hate this football team and I hate everything and blah, 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 blah. Snacks, I'm pumped. This is awesome. I feel so alive.
Well, you know, I wish we, and I hear you. You put it very well. And by the way, nice shirt.
Thank you. 10 o'clock tonight.
Yeah, 10 o'clock. You have put all that very well. I would like to think that, you know, the product on the football field and wins would be what gets us rejuvenated.
But this is hopefully the start.
Well, that's what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
But the fact that we have a Hall of Fame coach that sat in our facility for 13, 14 hours, whatever it is, and a guy that we know right away is going to bring us to respectability and get the best out of this team. Yeah, I'm with you. This has been a very, very exciting day. You never text me. We very rarely text. If we text,
always call each other on the phone.
We call each other on the phone. If it's one text back in the other. I texted you and I said, I'm very nervous. As soon as I heard, I was like, I'm very nervous. You said, no, I'm not. And we kind of went back and forth via text until we called each other later on. And all my group chats that I have like a family giant group chat, a friends group chat, all these different group chats, all these different things. And this is all consumed our mind today.
Yeah.
The fact that we are here, we are at the final stage. It's the final stage. Like I would be pretty surprised if this goes in next week. But This is this is exciting as fuck.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I cursed again, but
No,
this is exciting as fuck. And once we lose and get embarrassed again, and Antonio Pierce is our head coach, then we go from there.
The phrase that I've been using today, and I hear people around the office say this about the Yankees.
Ugh.
I hear "be the Yankees" often.
What, lose?
Like when you hear Steinbrenner talk about money and the not the cap, the luxury tax, right? When you hear him talk about that, you want to roll your eyes and just gouge your eyes out, because it's like, dude, you inherited generational wealth.
Mhm.
You inherited a top 3 valued sports franchise in the world. And you're seriously sitting there and talking to us about a luxury tax? Look, that's what you're talking to us about? Be the Yankees. And it's been something that they've lost. So I have started to say, I think maybe even just today, be the Giants. Especially when you consider the Falcons, the fucking Atlanta Falcons, and the freaking Tennessee Titans are the other 2 teams that are involved in this. I understand the Giants have been perpetual losers. Basically since 2011. Like, let's even pull it out and extend it from their last Super Bowl, right? Outside of 2016 and 2022, they have been perpetual losers, and especially it has gone downhill since 2017. Or at least some of those other years, like 2015, 2012, they were solid. 2015, Eli was really good. The offense was really good. Blah, 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 blah. But they've been generational losers, almost going on a decade outside for 1 or 2 exception years.
And those were fake years. I'm sorry to interrupt. They were fake years.
They were. 2016 was built off of free agency, which is a Band-Aid year. And then 2022 was a roster full of guys that were playing for their jobs.
Correct. And with an easy schedule that if you flip 3 games, we're not even in the playoffs.
And an easy schedule that you play the AFC South, which, hey, by the way, 2026, you play the AFC South.
Oh.
Giants do good things.
You hear that, John?
Giants do good things when you play the AFC South. Be the Giants. Be the team that can flex their muscles when it comes to resources. Like, I love hearing that. Let's make John Harbaugh either the highest paid coach in the league, more than Andy Reid, / just as much as Andy Reid's getting $20 million a year. And you know what? Let's allow John Harbaugh to give whatever money he wants to give his staff. You want to know why? Because John Harbaugh, all that he is known to do since 2008 is hire good staff members, right? So good, check. Number 1, be the Giants. Use your resources, especially because he just got $1 billion fucking dollars from Julia Koch. Be the Giants. Number 1. Number 2, flex your history. Flex that this is still a place to be. And you listening to this may roll your eyes at that, right? Like, oh, why would anybody want to be here? And I agree with that. I was saying this shit a couple weeks ago. I was saying that very same thing, Snacks. But if you still got it, and if people still believe it in the league, flex it. Flex that you are the Maras. Flex that you have this history. Flex the 4-time Super Bowl champion. Flex that you're looking for stability. Flex that you somehow have kept Joe Shane despite he should be fired. Flex that. And now, oh my God, we got told and sold this bill of goods that the technology in the building is awesome. I hope that technology blew John Harbaugh's socks off today, because if it didn't, why the fuck are we praising it?
Yeah.
So be the Giants, man. Get this done. Do not lose to the Atlanta Falcons and the Tennessee Titans. That would be somehow just as bad, if not worse, than winning 3 and 4 games every single year. I think that would be worse to John Mara if he lost to one of those 2 teams. Titans are basically an expansion team, and the Atlanta Falcons kind of feel like one too, that kind of just started in the 90s, right? They don't have like a long history, 80s, 90s. When the hell did they start?
Mm-mm. Nope.
Don't lose to them.
Nope.
Be the New York Football Giants.
And to me, I wanted you to go on that rant because I've seen you tweet it. I've heard you say it on your podcast. And that's the absolute exact thing. Be the New York Giants. Now, if Green Bay's job opens up and John Harbaugh goes to Green Bay, am I going to be really mad? No. I'll get it. There's a richer history of winning there, and specifically in the last decade. I will get it. But if we lose out, and like you said, to your point, the Mara family, the Mara name is synonymous with the NFL. Like,
it's the Duke.
It's the Duke. His name is on the football.
It's on the football that they use.
On the football. Like, the Mara name is synonymous with the NFL. There may not be a bigger name. Or if there is, the Mara name is in the top 3. You lose to the Tennessee Titans, whose ownership is awful, or the Atlanta Falcons, who has no quarterback. I will lose my mind. I cannot process that embarrassment of doing this whole courtship of John Harbaugh and then losing him to either one of those teams. Again, if it is the Packers and that miraculously comes up in the next day, great, fine. You know what? I get it. Do I think he wants to go to the NFC North? No. Why would you? But my point being is that's a team that you can tough to compete with. Fine. These two teams, to what exactly you're saying, be the Giants, that is the definition of be the Giants. Be the storied franchise that have been here since 1925, that have 4 Super Bowl rings, that have 8 championships. Be that team.
Yes.
And they're you know what? I think they're trying to do it. Steve Tisch is flying that private jet out. We saw a good tweet. I think it was Dan Duggan. Joe Judge took an Amtrak train for his interview.
And he went to New York Penn instead of Newark Penn.
Right, exactly.
Which I think is really funny.
Exactly. It's hilarious. So I do believe that they are going all out to pull the stops, but pulling all the stops and doing all these little things, great, awesome. Sell it. Fully sell it. Okay?
And I want to get to the Falcons and Titans part of this, and we already had this conversation together, and I thought it was a good one on the phone. Apparently, the 2 top things that John Mara is looking for is
John Harbaugh.
What did I say?
John Mara.
I've done that twice today.
I was just about to do it before. That's why I caught you.
The top 2 things that John Harbaugh is looking for is stability and ownership and quarterback. Stability and structure at quarterback. Which, with just the Falcons and Titans, it doesn't seem like there's other teams that are involved in this right now. The Falcons and the Titans. I think the Giants, while I'm not saying they're perfect, we've spent years, and especially all this year, criticizing ownership and criticizing the nepotism and criticizing that leadership structure and criticizing the front office and blah, blah, and rightfully so, right? Rightfully so. It's not even blah, blah, blah. It's rightfully so. But if John Harbaugh is looking for the blend of those 2 things out of the Falcons and the Titans, I think the Giants have the best blend of both of those things. The biggest question for the Giants is what's happening in ownership.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest question.
And because you brought this up to me, and that was my rebuttal. I said, well, what is our ownership right now?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, even Gary Myers acknowledged that is something that is a kind of a,
it's an elephant in the room. It's the elephant in the room. It really is. Because the Titans ownership, like you were telling me, is a disgrace.
Yes. Oh my God. Like ever since their owner died, and the daughter took over,
disgrace.
I think they hired a GM, then they fired one at 1 year in. They let Callahan go early this year after drafting Cam Ward. There have been decisions that have been made there that if I'm John Harbaugh, I'm looking at that and I'm being like, I do not want to go here. But Snacks, Why you would want to go to Tennessee is if you just love Cam Ward and you think you can make it work.
So that's exactly right. What did I say to you? I said, all things considered, what you just laid out to me, ownership, quarterback. I said, okay, well then to me, then it comes down to which one he likes better.
Right.
Because again, we don't know. Maybe obviously John Harbaugh knows more about the Mara situation now than we do, and probably a lot of other people. But we, through the tea leaves and everything we've seen with Tennessee, their ownership is terrible. So to me, it comes down, if that's really the full end all be all, then it's Dart versus Cam Ward. And
yeah.
I mean, sure, I'm biased, but I'm also a realist. I don't know. Am I crazy? I thought Jackson Dart was much better than Cam Ward this year.
Yeah.
Is there something that a coach like John Harbaugh sees on tape that I don't? Sure, probably.
Yeah, I think Cam Ward's a better thrower of the football.
Sure.
I think Cam Ward has more natural arm talent. I think Cam Ward is more gifted. I think there's a world where you could say Jackson Dart is more athletic. I think Cam Ward's a better.
I think we live in that world, by the way. Sorry, go ahead.
What just happened? Am I here?
You're frozen on my screen. Now you're good. Now you look prettier than ever. You look prettier than ever.
I don't know what happened there. That was bad. But Chris, thank you for the super chat, man, and thanks for everybody hanging out. Why don't you?
Oh, is that my boy? I love Chris.
Yeah, Chris, that's our guy, Chris.
Love him.
Why don't you? While the stream had the opportunity to freeze and take a shit in the middle of a good point. Why don't you like the stream? Why don't you comment on the stream? And subscribe, please.
Anybody takes a shit that quickly they got some serious problems. My dog doesn't even shit that quick, Justin.
No, your dog takes a long time to go. Stumpy takes a long time to go.
Yep.
We should compare dogs. Maybe I'll call my dog in here. You'll call your dog in here.
It'll take him a while. He's sleeping.
It will. Yeah. What the hell was I saying before I?
You were talking about Cam Ward, his athleticism, or his arm.
So, moral of the story is, I think there's an argument to be had that Cam Ward and his ceiling may be higher than Jackson Dart, and I don't necessarily think that's a referendum on Dart. I think that's just Cam Ward was the first pick of last year's draft, and Jackson Dart was the 23rd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, if those two things are at play here, balance of ownership and balance of quarterback, and you're seeing what happened in Tennessee, what's happened and what has gone on in Tennessee, unless you can just get the owner to be like, I'll just give you whatever you want and I'll be hands off, which again, I don't even know if I like that, because I have a feeling that Harbaugh would want to be the guy that wouldn't want to just hear, oh yeah, I'll be hands off. All the things that I fucked up on in the past, I'll just let you do it now. I don't think that's the type of person that he is, because when push comes to shove, if things do go wrong, if there is a disagreement, and it's inevitable that there's going to be disagreements about directions and decisions and things like that, are you still going to keep your word that you're going to keep your mouth shut? Probably not. Probably not. So that's Tennessee. Atlanta, you can give Arthur Blank maybe the nod for ownership right now. Let's just say hypothetically.
Okay, so I said I want to preface by saying, when we talked on the phone, I gave Arthur Blank the nod. I did.
Yeah. That is more, I guess that is more quote unquote stable right now.
Correct. Yes. Because we don't know what's going on with John and everything there. And Tish is finally getting involved, which is great. If John Mara was healthy and full, I give it a Mara, but we don't know what's going on there. So I gave it a blank. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But the quarterback situation.
Disgusting. You have Michael ACL Jr., like Penix. I'm sorry. Right? Did I get that right, Mike? It was a joke.
No, you just froze.
Oh, did I? Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yeah, I'm here. Keep going.
Oh, I thought I made a good joke, but it didn't land because we froze.
Nope, you keep going.
Anyway, well, the joke doesn't land now. But regardless, Michael Penix Jr. and Kirk Cousins or Jackson Dart, which one are you really going to be more enticed by? And also, okay.
Yep.
I understand that Atlanta won 8 games in a shit division. But why do I keep seeing and reading that their roster is so much better? Oh, Chris, thank you, buddy. He heard Michael ACL. Thank you. That was my joke, Justin. I don't know.
I did hear Michael ACL.
All right, so it wasn't great. You didn't want to comment on it, but it's fine. Why is their roster so much better than the Giants?
I'd
like to go back and forth because we talked about it on the phone. So
I'm gonna pull up the roster.
Go ahead. But here's my quick synopsis. Franchise left tackle, looks like a franchise quarterback. You got a 1-2 punch at running back. You got a wide receiver in Neighbors who, granted, yes, coming off an injury in Scotty too, I get it. But
and receiver in the league when he's healthy.
100%, exactly. He's much better than Drake London. Then you have Burns and Carter, edge rushers. Like that's exactly what you're looking for in a defense. That's where you start your defense is edge rushing nowadays. You need edge rushers. You need people rushing the passer. Granted, secondary, not great, don't love it, but you have decent pieces. Drew Phillips, I like. I would really like to bring Cordell Flott back, but we'll see on that. So I don't know why Atlanta's roster is so much better. They lost to the fucking Jets, mind you. Okay? Sorry.
I think this is tough.
Let me ask, what is so much better?
People just like the overall collection of skill position players better. Drake London was a first-round pick in 2022. So he has to get paid.
Yep. Oh, and they talk about cap space too. Yeah. Fuck you and your cap space.
Kyle Pitts, I'm sorry,
he's a free agent.
I know he had like a good statistical year. I've been very critical of Theo Johnson on this podcast because of his lack of ability after the catch. And you'll never guess who's down there with him. I was pretty shocked to see this, despite his quote-unquote athleticism. Michael Pitts is one of the worst tight ends, yards after the catch-wise, in the NFL, according to the numbers and according to the data. That's without watching every single snap. I will say it's basically the opposite. The Giants defense and the Falcons defense. They have a much better secondary than we do, but I think we have a much better defensive line than they do. James Pierce Jr. had a really good year. Jalen Walker's another. So they have a pair of first-round rookies at edge rusher. Caden Ellis is a pretty good linebacker as well that they have with the Falcons. The Giants don't really have any off-ball linebackers, but I don't know. I think I'd rather invest in Brian Burns, who is still 27 years old. Abdul Carter was on his rookie deal. You're gonna have Kayvon Thibodeau at a minimum for one more year on a fifth-year option. That's a cheap player.
Lawrence.
I think John Harbaugh. I've tweeted, and I really do think I've said on this show that I do think that Dexter Lawrence will be traded if Joe Shane stays. But I think John Harbaugh is the big exception of John Harbaugh has to sit down with Dexter Lawrence and really find out, are you in or are you out?
Yeah.
And I hope they have that conversation.
This is a great
And
take.
I just have a feeling that if it is Harbaugh, if it was somebody else, even if it was Stefanski, I would lean I think Dex would be out.
Him or Tomlin would be the only ones, yeah.
Harbaugh, in his early days of Baltimore, wasn't afraid to create confrontation even with some of his stars. Because there was
it's Parcells-like.
Seemed to be a culture of kind of acceptance early on. Or even as like the younger, unproven head coach, maybe he just wanted to kind of make his stamp and be like, I'm here. You're not gonna screw around with me. Like, even though you guys are, may view me as a peer, like I'm the coach, I'm the leader of this team. So that's guys like Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, kind of getting them in there. Terrell Suggs, really like you guys may think that you run the ship, but I run the shit.
They all bought in.
So I don't know if Harbaugh would have that kind of energy, which I kind of would want at least to start. Like, I want a tough summer. I want things difficult on these players because then I want Sundays to be easy. And that's something that we seemingly have lost over the last 4 years with Brian Daboll.
Well, Justin, their own players are talking about they want to be disciplined. They want to be
Gunnar Olszewski, great Dan Duggan pickup.
That was very good. Like their own players, like we're being coached too soft.
Yeah,
like
because losing on Sunday sucks.
Yeah, like you would think a player wants to be coached soft. They don't want to be run into the ground. All these things. No, they're like, We're sick of losing. Coach us hard. Hold us accountable. That is, and you know what? I will say this. I want to preface by saying it too. I've seen all the notes from, I mean, like loser Ethan and
wow.
Yeah, he's a loser. Sorry. Guy thought Mike McDaniel was the next Bill Walsh. He wasn't. And others say, well, I know what Harbaugh's ceiling is. Yeah, he'll get us there. Is he really going to take us to the promised land?
Yeah.
Okay. I get it. On the surface, I get it. Cool. There is nobody that's a coordinator. Mind you, we've tried that the last 3 times and it's failed miserably. And this team has been disgusting for decades. So you don't want a coach with a 600% winning percentage over 18 years, mind you. 18 years.
Yep.
Which is insane. He's been in the playoffs 14 out of 18 years. Insane. And you want to take another shot at a coordinator because you think that could be the next McVay? Sure. Could be the next Joe Judge. Could be the next Brian Dable. You have a Hall of Fame coach sitting right there that all he costs is money. You know exactly what he's going to do, and you know what he's going to do? This is the best part for a young team, and especially on these exit interviews, what they're all saying. He's going to demand the locker room. He's going to demand accountability, something these players have not seen in their tenure with Brian Dable and this Joe Shane regime. I would love Brian Dable to be my offensive coordinator, not to be my head coach. It is clear as day that as a country club, it's been reported over and over. That is not John Harbaugh. He is going to come in, demand your respect immediately without even talking to you. That's John Harbaugh. You respect him right away. He's going to demand accountability. He's going to demand work ethic, everything. That is what this team needs more than they need anything. And some first-time coordinator that a veteran like Dexter Lawrence, yeah, I'm bought out. I'm not doing this again. Why am I going to trust this guy's word? It's the same thing as the other 3 first-time coordinators that you brought me in here with. A veteran like Brian Burns, who all he's done is lose with in his whole career.
Yeah.
He is going to absolutely be receptive and even better leader than he's already been with John Harbaugh leading that shit.
Yeah.
So I am just so I understand that somebody wants to take a shot at the next McVay. I get it, but we've tried. We've tried and it's failed miserably. You have a Hall of Fame coach on the market right now, and that happens once every decade?
This is a once in a decade, once every 2 decade opportunity. And exactly. I really do think Sean says it's the first time since Andy Reid.
That's
Gary Myers brought up Tom Coughlin. Even Pete Carroll was available this past offseason. He was available. Right? I think this is since Bill Parcells. This is the first time that such a program changer, program shifter has been available since him. Where Bill Parcells, now we only know that Harbaugh did it in one spot, but Parcells eventually got the reputation of, you know what? He may be confrontational. It may not last all that long.
It'll work.
But goddamn, he's going to come in and he's going to fix shit.
Yep.
And that's what he kind of gained the reputation of. I really do think first time since he became available for the Dallas Cowboys in the middle of the 2000s, and I think he came out of retirement at that point, right? He didn't go right from one team to the next.
No.
Came out of retirement.
I don't even think it was 1 year. I think it was 2 or 3.
Yeah,
he went to the Cowboys. Yeah,
and what did he do, man? He won. It just shit got fixed.
Yep.
Shit got fixed. Same thing with when he went to the Jets. Same thing when he went to the Patriots.
Yeah.
Shit just got fixed.
Right, exactly.
And that's the expectation here. And one more thing. I don't know if you saw Craig Carton on his show. Was like, oh my God, the Giants will never win a Super Bowl with John Harbaugh. Okay, brother. I'm not thinking about winning a Super Bowl right now.
Why are we going from a decade of misery and 3 to 4 wins every year to the Super Bowl right away? That's like part of my point. So I'm sorry. Go ahead. Like that's such stupid logic.
You want to know what I'm thinking about right now? I'm thinking about winning 7 to 10 games and making the playoffs and maybe winning a playoff game or 2. And if 5 years from now we start to do that and we have John Harbaugh and we need to have a conversation about what's the ceiling with John Harbaugh, oh my God, I'll take that compared to where we've been right now.
It's a nice problem to have.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's a nice problem to have.
That's why I think the message will be received here, Snacks. It grows stale in Baltimore.
After 18 years, that's logical.
Yes, and even with Lamar and those teams in 2023 that kicked ass, that team in 2024, what they did to teams that were above 500, they didn't just beat them. Like, all the talk about one-score games and what's your record against teams that are 500 and above. What the 2024 Ravens did is they played those teams that are above 500 and they kicked their ass.
They
and
did.
that's kind of has been throughout John Harbaugh's tenure in Baltimore. It has been that their point differential has been very, very large. And you want to know what? When you're kicking the shit out of teams so often, that's kind of why you put yourself in some situations where you're allowing these leads because you're winning. You're winning games and teams start to throw the ball more. And that's why you allow these big leads, because you find yourself so often winning these games. So that's why I think personally that a narrative of Harbaugh is that, he blows big games. It's because he gets leads.
Something we don't ever get.
I mean, this year there were some games where we got big leads, but
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And also with John Harbaugh, and I may leave it on this because I want you to. I made coherent thoughts tonight, which I'm still stunned about.
I'm proud of you. I've enjoyed this.
So have I. I have too. But here's the thing. If I keep going, then I'm probably going to start sounding stupid, and I'm trying to leave off on a great note. And I'm just going to pull this up on YouTube and watch you at the end and probably stay in the comments. Damn, I just had another great. Oh. You know why I want John Harbaugh?
Why?
Selfishly.
Sure.
And I know you gave the tickets up. Rest in peace. And I don't blame you. You got to do your
decision.
thing.
Work decision. And somebody replied on Twitter the same thing same thing that you just said. It's a shame you gave up your tickets. First of all, we didn't get them yet. We didn't get Harbaugh yet.
No, we didn't.
But it's like, I'm doing it to be better at my job. And this is my job.
And you've been amazing at your job. So it'll only get better. I want John Harbaugh to come here so I can guarantee that I'm still going to Giant games in October. And the season's not over after September.
It's all that we want. All that we want, man.
It's so sad. Me and my family, all my family we tailgate with, and we're texting in a group chat, hey, you guys want to go this week? No. Well, we're 0-4. We still got a shot. Seasons? No, we have not. It's just so sad that everything like this. He instantaneously brings us to respectability. Not even respectability. I think we could actually be good because I believe, and like you said, best, he hires good coordinators.
Yeah.
His coordinators are going to be good. I am not taking a chance on another. I'm not doing it. Not when the biggest fish. I hear you on Parcells, but I probably will say Reed because of how much you want. You can't go wrong either way. I don't so much agree with Coughlin because that was an expansion team. Like, he had a great run. Yeah, absolutely. But I don't know about that, Gare.
Yeah.
This is it. Like, we need to land John Harbaugh.
Yeah. If not him, then who? That's the phrase that I've been saying as well.
You have been saying it.
If not him, then who?
Then who? If there's one guy that's going to come in here, and I'll shout him out. Rational Giants Takes. I'm sure he's listening. He's talking about, he wants a first-time coordinator because he wants the ceiling. He wants some coordinator that could be the next McVay. To our point, okay. And then when it's the next Judge, then we're right here. John Harbaugh's don't just grow on trees. They do not grow on trees.
No, and Sean McVay's also don't grow on trees. But you want to know what is a lot more easy? You want to know what's a lot more easier to sift through out of all the bullshit? It's the resume that John Harbaugh has built, rather than the possibility that Clint Kubiak, Chris Shula, or Jesse Minter could be a good head coach. Could any of those guys be great head coaches? Yes.
Sure.
Do you know that for sure?
No.
Absolutely not. Have the Giants experimented and done this thing with the first-time head coach, the hotshot coordinator, the disciplinarian that was a special teams coordinator? Have they tried? They've tried all of it. The only thing that they haven't tried is just bring in a defensive coordinator, which, okay, they haven't brought in a defensive coach since Bill Parcells. That's the last time that they brought in a defensive head coach, right? So I guess, do you really feel the need to scratch that itch? Like, no. Like, this is a once in a decade, 2-decade opportunity that the stars have aligned, that out of all years that the Giants are looking for a head coach, all of the frustrating talking points as fans is that we are a year or two off of something really good happening that the Giants just missed out on. They missed out on Drake May. They missed out on Caleb Williams. They missed out on Jaden Daniels. They missed out on Justin Herbert. They missed out on Ben Johnson. Blah, 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 blah. This is it. This is it. If not him, then who?
Yeah, you're 100% right. And everybody that wants to bitch and moan about the front office and the upper management with the Maras and the McDonald's and everything, there's only one guy who is going to have the cachet to put his foot down and say, no, this is how we're doing it. And that's John Harbaugh. It's not going to be some defensive coordinator that comes in to be a first-time head coach. The only person that's going to have any cachet in that building, have any real juice where, hey, my program works, listen to me, and it's John Harbaugh. To your point, and you've been saying it, if not him, then who? I'm going to say it right now because I'm going to get going. I got to pee like a mutt. I don't want to get off the camera and ruin your shit. This has been phenomenal. Thank you guys, everybody. Listen, Chris, again, I see the fight. He's amazing. I love that guy so much.
Chris, you're the man.
He really
John
is.
Harbaugh, wanting John Harbaugh to be the next Giants head coach, first bipartisan agreement Giants fans have had reached in.
It's so true. It's so true. Except if your name is Rational Giants fan, but I hate him. So
Twitter's not real.
I don't think he is. I mean, I talked to him on the phone. I don't think he's real.
So he very much is real. So you talk to him on the phone, but
I mean, Justin, it's 2025, 2026. It's all AI. I don't think he's a real human being. Yeah. There's just nobody that contradicts himself more and makes less sense. But that's okay.
He's a good dude.
He's a good dude. I like him too. That's it, though. To your point, I'm going to sign off with be the Giants. I'm taking your words. Be the Giants. That's it. Giants. I love you, my friend. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna finish up watching for you, but sign everybody off good. Keep going, whatever you have to say. That was phenomenal. Thank you for giving me the chance to come talk to you. I know it's been rare nowadays. I haven't done it in a while, but
maybe we'll just do some more live streams. Why not?
You tell me when.
Casual.
I got nothing else to do. You tell me.
All right, get out of here. I'm gonna talk more.
All right, I love you.
Love you too. All right, so there's a couple more things that I do kind of want to talk about. One of them being, where does Joe Schoen kind of fit into all this? Because I do think, obviously, he is a huge factor in this. But also, a lot of people have been talking about Mike Tomlin. Like Jose asked about Mike Tomlin. I know a couple of you guys were having a chat about Mike Tomlin before. I'm out on Mike Tomlin. I'm out. If this were last year, and the Giants didn't have their quarterback, right? Then I may be a little bit more in on Mike Tomlin. But the fact that they have their quarterback, I don't think Jackson Dart can just be copied and pasted into any offensive scheme. I do not trust Mike Tomlin's ability to hire a good offensive coordinator and run a good offense. Because what evidence has Mike Tomlin showed since 2017, 2018, basically, even towards the later years of Ben Roethlisberger, what evidence has Mike Tomlin showed that he can be part of an offense that is ran well and that is an advantage for the Pittsburgh Steelers? There's no evidence. And it's going on for more than like half a decade. He failed at hiring offense coordinators. It's like one of the main reasons why I think he's not the coach of the Steelers. Because they've just objectively been a horrible, below average offense as the years have gone on. And they win football games, but there's a reason why they don't go further in the playoffs. Because they don't have a good offense. So I would feel really, really skeptical about Jackson Dart's future. And it would increase the floor. No doubt about that. It would increase the floor. And not even talking about ceiling. Because, again, I think we established on this show, and I think you know my feelings of, I don't really care about the ceiling as long as the floor is increased. We'll talk about the ceiling 5 years down the line. But additionally, counting the fact that you would have to give up assets to get Mike Tomlin either this year or next year, I'm kind of out. Even without having to give up assets for Mike Tomlin, I think I would be out. So that's Mike Tomlin. Leave me some more questions too. We'll do a little bit of a Q&A at the end. I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what you're thinking. I'll even just read off like non-questions if you just have takes that you want to fire off and what you want to say. But I want to talk about Joe Schoen. New Ian tweet. Gosh, now there's nobody here. I'm gonna have to do this solo. I do want to talk about Joe Schoen next. And where does Joe Schoen fit into all this? Because I didn't really talk about that with Snacks. Ian O'Connor, tweet. 1 minute. Giants building was tight today, but one description of meetings with John Harbaugh was excellent in the evening. When asked about state of an official offer, one participant said, still talking. Again, worth noting, Harbaugh went to the Giants and the Titans are going to him. All right. Okay. So still talking. Awesome. I'm just going to put this in our company Slack so they can make a post of it. Where does Joe Schoen fit into all this? Because something that I was talking about with Gary Myers today, because I feel like we were just kind of like, yeah, well, Joe Schoen's not really going to be the biggest interference with the John Harbaugh negotiations, which I think at this point is true. They wouldn't have gone this far if Joe Schoen was going to be this huge hindrance in John Harbaugh taking the job. I don't think it would get this far. But I still think it's worth having the conversation of where does he fit? Because the Giants were the second team to fire their head coach. The Titans were obviously the first. They did it early in the year. Giants were the second team to fire their coach. They basically have had the last 2 months to plan out what their pitch is going to be to Kevin Stefanski, who they speculated may become available. They eventually speculated that this possibility may happen. John Harbaugh may happen. So they've had 2 months to basically plan out where does Joe Schoen fit? And I don't really have an answer to this. But again, I hope it's not just bowing down to John Harbaugh. Because if you just bow down and if you're like, yeah, man, we'll just let you do what you want. That's where I think you're going to run into problems with future conflicts. When it comes down to the NFL draft, when it comes down to nut up or shut up time, and you got to make a decision, right? Then this person wants this and this person wants that. Then the conversation becomes a lot more difficult because you didn't prepare for that scenario, right? So I really hope, and I think this is true. I think this is true, but you don't want to put anything past the Giants with their track record. I hope it wasn't just, yeah, man, we'll give you all the control you want. We'll give you everything you want. And Joe Schoen will kind of take this back seat, and that's our plan. I hope it's a collaborative thought process of how they will work together and what will the roles be and things of that nature. And I hope that makes sense. Because again, if the interview process just to get him to sign that contract, right? Just to get him to sign his name. If it's just, yeah, man, we'll bow down to you. If I'm Harbaugh, I'm sitting there being like, this is suspect. This is sounding to me like you're selling me a bill of goods that ain't going to come true. That's just not going to come true. So I hope they have a well-calculated plan of this is what Joe Schoen's role is going to be. And I think even for better or for worse, the thing that the Giants and Joe Schoen have to lean on is from a relationship standpoint. Joe Schoen and Brian Dable's relationship was a very, very good relationship, working relationship through the years. And I think you can pinpoint not just how close they were, but I think you can pinpoint how they've operated in the draft, especially when it comes to quarterback. Because quarterback, I think, is the big example. Quarterback is just the major decision that every franchise has to make, right? Because what they did in 2024, not just 2025 with trading up to get Dart, what they did in 2024 when everybody was clamoring for them to take J.J. McCarthy, to take Michael Penix, they looked at that. They had that process. They went through their draft cycle and process and interviews, and they made the decision in the face of public pressure and maybe even possibly internal pressure of people that were done with Daniel and didn't like Daniel Jones and wanted him gone and knew that they were going to bench him at some point in 2024, the 2024 season. and wanted him gone, they went through that process and they determined none of these guys are worth taking. Let's take the best player available in Malik Neighbors and let's roll with that. And I think that was a collaborative process between head coach, general manager, Dabes. There's nobody here that you really want to work with. You really vetted J.J. McCarthy, had J.J. McCarthy in the building a ton. I think even partially J.J. McCarthy might have thought that he would be a Giant. They went through that process. They didn't like him, thank God, and they passed on quarterback. And they got killed for it in the moment, and I think they should be praised for that now. Like, the Giants front office should be praised for passing on quarterback in 2024. 2025, they don't force Jackson Dart. They don't force Shedeur Sanders, even though I think there were people. I genuinely do think there were people in that building that liked Shedeur Sanders and wanted to take him at that 3rd overall pick. They take Abdul Carter. They love Jackson Dart enough where Davis is like, this is my guy, this is my guy, this is my guy. Joe Schoen makes the decision to trade up, give up assets in that draft, plus a future asset this year, a top 100 pick this year, and you land Jackson Dart. I think that is the best example, along with the everyday things that they would do, the everyday collaboration that Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll had throughout the last 4 years. I think that is the best example of Joe Schoen, like why that could work with Harbaugh, because he did it with Daboll. Even though they're not super familiar with each other, even though they never directly worked with each other, I think there will be a obvious respect and reverence for what Harbaugh does, and that may result in Joe Schoen taking a step back, but that needs to be properly communicated. Like, I'm going to take a step back here, I'm going to let you go here, but Joe Schoen has to say, I still want influence in these processes, in what we do here and what we do there. Because even Joe Schoen, like Jordan Raanan has documented plenty of times that Joe Schoen is very involved in the everyday practice, like in the everyday operations, football operations of the football team. Not just the football operation with the front office, but even the everyday coaching about practice and analytics and in-game decisions. I think Joe Schoen is involved in all of that, even more than your average GM. Will Joe Schoen have to take a step back in that? How much control will he relinquish when it comes to that? I would hope it would be a decent amount, but that needs to be communicated. That needs to be said. Hey, I've done this in the past. We have these advantages. We have these resources here about what we do and how we operate. You could choose to use them, and if you want me involved in it, I'll get out. Or if you want me involved in it, I'd be glad to give my input, and if you want me out on that, I have to respect it. That's the type of shit that I'm hoping is talked about, analyzed, and figured out before he signs on the dotted line. I think if that plan is presented well and correctly, that could be the difference between landing the plane and not landing the plane. How do you like that metaphor? How do you like that metaphor? I hope that makes sense. And I think it's a good point. I did see this from Robert. Stefanski feeling slighted. Yes and no. Yes and no. I think we're at this stage. I've been talking a lot about baseball tonight. I think we're at this stage where, you know how typically there's one big baseball free agent? I don't keep the question up while I ask it. You know how there's typically sometimes one big baseball free agent? Like, I think Ohtani was this a couple off seasons ago. Judge was maybe this. Yamamoto, I think, was this in baseball, where there's one big free agent that until that free agent signs, nothing else happens. Just nothing happens. Because the domino will fall from there. Because teams that are bidding on this big-time player, once they actually sign, then the rest of the players can go and be signed in the teams. The money will open up, and then the offseason gets figured out. I think this is the same thing. Once the Harbaugh deal is reached, then the floodgates were open for everybody else. And I think Kevin Stefanski understands that. I think he understands the difference between him and John Harbaugh. I think Mike McCarthy understands the difference between him and John Harbaugh. I definitely think Clint Kubiak, Jesse Minter, Chris Shula, even the guys that are in the playoffs, not Jesse Minter. But those guys understand the respect and the reverence that John Harbaugh has, and that this is a situation that needs to be figured out, and then everything else can be opened up. I even think the teams that aren't centrally involved in this, the teams that have called John Harbaugh, maybe there's the outside chance that something happens and falls apart with the Giants. Something happens. He meets with Tennessee and he finds out he doesn't like Tennessee. He meets with Atlanta, finds out he doesn't like Atlanta. So then he finally gives Miami a call, and then Miami, who would, I think, really want, everybody would want John Harbaugh, and then he goes to Miami. I'm not saying that's a possibility. I don't think that's likely, but you just never know. You just never know. So I think the Harbaugh decision needs to happen, and then the rest of the floodgates were open for the other 8 teams that need a coach. I was talking about that with Gary Myers today. 28% of the league needs a head coach right now, which is crazy. This is the craziest head coaching cycle ever. I pitched it to Gary right there. He's a New York Times bestselling author. New York Times bestselling author, Gary Myers is. I said, this is a book. What's happening in this cycle with Harbaugh being fired, Mike Tomlin kind of leaving, Mike McCarthy being available again, Kevin Stefanski, who's a former head coach of the year, has 2 double-digit winning season with the Browns out of all teams. The Browns is available, highly respected. Plus you have the hotshot coordinators of Chris Shula, Clint Kubiak, Jesse Minter. Plus you have those 3 guys that are going to be highly sought after. Throw Davis Webb in there too. Why not? Mike McDaniel being fired, Brian Dable being fired, where I think if they literally go anywhere, those guys go anywhere, they're going to be highly sought after coordinators. Cliff Kingsbury, who's made the playoffs before. Like, Cliff Kingsbury is a footnote. Cliff Kingsbury is a footnote of this coaching cycle, which is crazy. Crazy, man. This deserves a book. This deserves a Netflix documentary, an untold documentary, even though this is very told because everybody's watching it. If Harbaugh wanted Shane fired, if taking the job, Vince, write me another comment and say it out loud. I want to read your comment. Do we think we get John Harbaugh? I really hope we get him. I think we do get him, James. I really do. Be the Giants. If not him, then who? Ryan's Big Blue Podcast. What's going on, man? Do you think the only reason Harbaugh is visiting the Giants and other teams are going to him is because of Mara's health? Could be. If John Harbaugh was stern on staying in Baltimore, I can imagine just Chris Mara would go. It also could just be we use the word reverence a lot. A reverence and respect thing for John Mara. Like, John Harbaugh is a human being, and if somebody is going to send you in a plane and a jet to fly out to Jersey and then go back to Baltimore and provide that transportation, and knowing what John Mara is going through and having cancer and not going to games and things like that, I think John Harbaugh understands that. And I think he has enough respect for John Mara to do that for him and to go to the office and have an in-person meeting. And also, I think the Giants were the first team to really pounce on this. And I think John Harbaugh and the Giants have been talking the longest, even if it was just through phone. Chris Mara sharing a meal with John Harbaugh, I think was the first face-to-face contact that John Harbaugh had with anybody. Informally. First face-to-face contact. So, there you go, man. I think it's out of respect for John Mara. But I do think it's a good sign. It's not a bad sign that Harbaugh is not traveling anywhere else. And the nice thing is, I haven't even talked about this. I love Jackson Dart being part of it. Because from what we know and what we've talked about, what Harbaugh is valuing is ownership and quarterback. Is Cam Ward going to be traveling to Baltimore, Maryland with the Tennessee Titans contingency tomorrow? Probably not. I love that John Harbaugh got that one-on-one time or just face-to-face time with Jackson Dart. Because I love who Jackson Dart is as a competitor. I love who he is as a player. I love the late in the year talking about this losing shit sucks and it's unacceptable. And I don't do that. I don't lose. Like that needs to be preached as something that isn't tolerable here. I love that. Because I think that's exactly what Harbaugh is going to preach. Like, we're just not going to do it here. We're just not going to do that. So I love that he got that time with him to kind of fall in love with him, because that's exactly what we did. That's exactly what we did. Us jaded Giants fans that want to doubt everything. And I think at this point we can see through that. I love that he got that face-to-face time with Jackson Dart. And I do think Jackson Dart will sell himself a little bit better than Cam Ward, just based on some of the things that Cam Ward, I've seen him say throughout the year. And also, like, regardless, even if Cam Ward was this perfect soldier, and regardless if he would kill it, I don't know if maybe he is traveling and he's going to meet Harbaugh tomorrow. I don't know. I don't think so. I can't see that being a possibility. So that's where Jackson Dart being part of everything. That's why I love that. Matt LaFleur could be gone as well. At this point, one of that already happened. We're at Wednesday. They were eliminated on Sunday. Would that have already happened, especially knowing that this process that the Giants, Falcons, and Titans have started? Wouldn't that have already happened? So they kind of moved on quickly from Harbaugh. The Ravens did. The Steelers moved on. The Steelers and Mike Tomlin moved on quickly themselves. I don't know. So I don't think Matt LaFleur is going to be gone. What's going on, Evan? Nice to see you, man. Nice to see you. My mother just texted me a John Harbaugh update that I very much know is happening. So thank you, Mom. Do you think Harbaugh will use our contract offer against us with Atlanta or Tennessee? Contract meaning like salary? No. I don't think Harbaugh is looking for money. I think what Harbaugh could use, if by contract, let's just say terms of control, terms of what he can do, what you can do, right? Maybe. I don't know. Like, again, based off the conversation I had with Gary Myers today, it doesn't seem like Harbaugh is that type of dude that's just, I'm going to be vindictive and look to get everything. These teams are selling themselves for John Harbaugh. So I think it's kind of like a little bit more of a sit and listen type of thing. Like, what do you have that I can work with, instead of the other way around? So I don't think so, because this isn't about money. The Giants are going to give him at least $20 million a year. And then what I think is the sweetener in this is we'll pay your staff top dollar too. Like that's flexing your muscles. That's being the Giants. Like, there's this guy. It's the right guy. Let's get it right. So I think it's possible, like the terms, Alex, the terms of control, maybe, but I also don't see it. Looks like Falcons really like Clint Kubiak. Okay. I haven't seen fully everybody who the Falcons have brought in. Here's the thing I was thinking about. Did the Falcons satisfy the Rooney Rule yet? That's one thing I don't know. Because as of like 2 days ago, the Falcons the start of the week, the Falcons have not satisfied the Rooney Rule yet and had 2 in-person interviews with minority candidates. The Giants have had that. The Giants have brought in Vance Joseph, Antonio Pierce, and Raheem Morris. So they have 3, and you need 2. So Giants can hire a head coach right now. Can the Atlanta Falcons hire a head coach right now? That's my big question. People from Atlanta says they don't feel like they will land John Harbaugh, which is crazy. It's not crazy, but which is the thing, because everything that I've seen today is Atlanta and the Giants are like the last 2. When anything, I think Harbaugh would consider Tennessee more because of the quarterback. So again, out of Tennessee and Atlanta, I think the Giants have the best blend of what Harbaugh's looking for: ownership and quarterback. The best blend. Ownership in Tennessee is awful. Awful what they have done. What she has done. Amy Adams, and her last name starts with a B, and I'm forgetting it. Amy Adams, not the actress, is really made a lot of people mad in Tennessee that work in that building over her first, I think, 2 years of being there. So, Dart over Ward. This year, yes. This year, yes. What really concerns me, and I will say, what really concerns me, even though Caleb turned it around, great. Like Caleb was the most sacked quarterback in the league last year. His sack rate was above 10%. He brought that down to like 4% this year. So it can be done. But Cam Ward was sacked so much this year. And that does concern me in a quarterback. Like pocket presence and feel in the pocket. I think Cam Ward can do it. And dude, he can create from inside and outside the pocket. Like I really do love Cam Ward. But Dart's rookie year was kind of just flat out better. And even though Dart's sack rate was high, I want to see if I can quickly pull this up and maybe I can share it with everybody. I don't have the tab saved on this computer. I have it saved on my other computer. I like to look at, obviously, sack rate, right? Stat they like to look at. Sack rate and taking sacks is an offensive line and quarterback shared stat. Quarterbacks that hold on to the ball for a long time, but if they hold on to the ball for 4 seconds and they take a sack, that's not necessarily the offensive line's fault. It's the quarterback's fault. You got to get rid of the ball. You can't hold on to the ball for 4 seconds inside the pocket to be a statue. But the offensive line that gives up sacks in 1.5 to 2 seconds, that's insanely fast, that's on the offensive line. So it's a nuance. Sacks is a nuanced thing. And one thing I was very impressed with Jackson Dart all throughout the year is that even though his sack rate was high, he was up there with Drake May with yards lost per sack. Jackson Dart was towards the upper part of the league. I think at one point it was Drake May number 1 and Jackson Dart number 2 of the least amount of yards lost per sack. So I would definitely take, if Jackson Dart drops back to pass on a 2nd and 6, I am taking a 3rd and 9 versus a catastrophe 7-8 yard loss and making it 3rd and 13, 3rd and 14, right? I'm taking that. I'm taking a 3rd and 9. And then Jackson Dart's numbers on 3rd down were money all year. For the majority of the year, he was number 1 in the NFL in like success rate and EPA per play on 3rd down. Jordan Love eventually passed him in EPA per play. But he was right up there, and then Mike Kafka took over. So, there you go. My guy, Wes Locke, I think the Titans met it today. Okay, important. So thank you for that, Wes. What other questions do we have? But that's a positive thing about Jackson Dart. Pocket presence, taking sacks. Little things. If it all came down to Harbaugh not wanting Joe and wanting Chad Alexander, how fast do we make that change? I think it would already be kind of happening now. But again, I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe it does. I'm not ruling anything out. But I also have no insight into that timeline. No insight. And nobody has also have talked about it. Nobody significant has like talked about it. So I'm not ruling it out, but nobody has like really brought it up. So yes, Titans satisfied the Rooney Rule. I really don't like offensive play callers as head coaches. Only way is they have to be the very best at it. Yeah, man, that is true. That is true. And I still think like Dable's a very good play call, but you need to be a leader. You got to be a leader of men. And that's like the toughest thing about first-time head coaches right now. And that's why John Mara was so sold on Joe Judge. And I really do think there's a world where Joe Judge can be like a good football coach. I really do. I think you're seeing it right now with kind of like Ole Miss and what he's doing there. But you got to be a leader of men. And it's so tough. Like even Mike Kafka, like you saw Mike Kafka on Hard Knocks, how like bad that was. He gets in front of a room full of men, grown men, and it just is, like, dude, like that's how you're leading. But I think in an interview, it's really good. It's really easy to pass that test and speak in a strong voice and present a strong, firm message in an interview. Like I don't know. Like, can you have a mock? Can you lead like a mock meeting? Has anybody ever done that before? Can you lead like a mock conversation that you're giving to your team after a loss? Like, do coaches do that? Like, I don't know. But seeing Kafka do that, and Kafka would get interview after interview for the last 2 off seasons, the 2023 off season and the 2024 off season. He was like a finalist for the Saints job. Yet we saw him on Hard Knocks and we're like, how in the world is this guy ever going to be a head coach when you can't lead a group of men? So that's the thing about the genius boy wonder offense coordinators. And it's funny that Ben Johnson got like the reputation that he had of he's kind of like a mad scientist. He locks himself in his office and he's a mad scientist and he's not really a leader. Yet it seems like these guys really love playing for him. It helps when you win. We said the same thing about Dable because Dable won. All these guys would die for Brian Dable. They'd play their ass off for Brian Dable, but then you lose and shit hits the fan. What are you going to do? What type of guy are you going to be? So that's the tough thing about whether they're offensive specialists or defensive specialists. I still lean on hiring the offensive specialist because if you get it right, then you don't have to worry about hiring a system for your quarterback because the head coach is the system. I still think that is still true, 100%. Hot take, the Giants are going to win the NFC East this year. Eddie, I'm here for it. Why not? I'm not fully thinking about that right now, but I'm just excited. I'm excited for the Giants. I'm excited for what's happening right now. Like I'm in a great mood. I'm in a perpetually great mood right now. Just with being excited about something with this team that isn't apathy. So I'm with you, man. Also, Caleb Downs went to my old high school. Would be cool to see a hometown kid come to New York. Did you go to high school with him or did he just go to your old high school? Because if you went to his high school and if you know anything about him, that would be cool to share. If you don't know anything about him, then it still would be cool for a hometown kid to come to New York. And especially if Harbaugh's here, wouldn't that feel very Kyle Hamilton-like? Wouldn't that feel very similar? If you don't think the Giants had an opportunity to redo it in 2022, would you take Kyle Hamilton over Kayvon Thibodeau with pick 5? Yes. Would you take Kyle Hamilton over Evan Neal at pick 7? Yes. Kyle Hamilton fell to 14. So I'm kind of not, if there's a good player that's a kick-ass player that's going to be the smartest player on the field, and you feel good enough to take him at 5, take him at 5, brother. I'm all for it. Wes, my concern is Harbaugh is an Andy Reid guy, and the Titans GM came from Kansas City. Does Reid endorse him? Yeah, that's a connect. Yeah, it's a good connection. That was a long time ago too. They worked together a long time ago, Andy Reid and John Harbaugh. I still give the lean to the Giants ownership and infrastructure right now over the Titans because that's how fucked up I think the Titans are. Unless our girl Amy Adams has seen the light and is going to let football people do football things. But if I took the Titans job, I would have that thing in the back of my head about I could wake up in the morning and be fired because this woman wants me out. So I don't know. I wanted Mike Kafka to work out because he was from my area. Everybody, Caleb Downs is from New York, and Eddie, Mike Kafka's from your area. Yeah, man. I think Mike Kafka is a good coordinator. I think he's a good offensive coach. I don't think Mike Kafka can handle being a head coach and a play caller at the same time. I think that's what we saw. I think we saw a little bit of the Jeff Ulbrich effect. Jeff Ulbrich really did a good job managing that Jets defense, and then he takes over for Robert Saleh last year, and then the defense gets worse. I think we saw a little bit of that. Would you consider Brian Dable as an OC for Harbaugh? I was having this fan fiction coming home on the train. Like, I don't think that would work. I don't think if this were 5 years removed, like, right, if this was like Vance Joseph leaves the Broncos for a couple years and now he's back as the defense coordinator, and that kind of works, and nobody kind of bats an eye at that. I think you would need to have a couple years removed because you're going from this guy was just in charge to now he's very much not in charge. I think it would be a weird dynamic. I would also want Todd Monken. Like, if Todd Monken's going to be available, I would want Todd Monken to work with John Harbaugh because that just makes sense, right? If Harbaugh ends up not coming to New York, do you think Kevin Stefanski is the next best option? Yeah, for what the Giants are looking for, yes. I do not have Kevin Stefanski as my number 2 option. I originally put a Clint Kubiak as my number 2 option, but again, it's just so tough because I don't know the type of leader that Clint Kubiak is. I just like that Clint Kubiak. I'm pulling up my power rankings 1 through 5 right now that we talked about on the show earlier in the week. If you want to go check that out, we did a long episode previewing the Giants' head coaching candidates. And then the week prior, we did a long episode on John Harbaugh where we talked about him for like 40 minutes. I have John Harbaugh 1. I have Clint Kubiak 2. I have Kevin Stefanski 3. I have Jesse Minter 4. And I have Chris Shula 5. If I had to make a 6th, it would be Mike McCarthy. Sean Morash was talking about on our show that Clint Kubiak could be a little bit more of a, not a leader, lock yourself in the office and just be like an offense schematic guy. From things that I read, from what players have had to say about Clint Kubiak, I would want to watch more interviews, but it's so tough to, like, I couldn't really watch Mike Kafka interviews and then give you a full-on take of how he was going to be in a room full of his players like we saw in Hard Knocks. Like, who would have guessed that would have been the result, you know? That's just straight up awkward. But I have Clint Kubiak 2 over Kevin Stefanski simply because oh my God, this microphone is not in a good spot. Simply because Clint Kubiak has stuck to his guns. He has stuck to his schematic guns, so to speak, versus Kevin Stefanski since his early days of 2020 to 2022, where he ran outside zone, heavy play action, offensive line with kick-ass run game. He moved away from that. And for Deshaun Watson, you kind of had to, because that was such a bad situation. You had to save it. But then even this year, they knew that Deshaun Watson was not going to play. Joel Bitonio in camp is talking about how the install of the offense feels more like outside zone, yet they went away from outside zone, which is frustrating. Because why didn't you go back to your bread and butter? Especially if you were installing it in camp, and then they just didn't do it. So you need a specific offensive line. You need an athletic offensive line to fully pull off the outside zone runs. The Giants tried doing outside zone in 2020 when Jason Garrett first got here with Saquon Barkley, because they thought that Saquon Barkley could really fit that outside zone, and it failed miserably. It failed miserably to start. And then they started doing more duo and pin and pull stuff kind of in the middle part of the season. And that's when Judge kind of took more of a hands-on role with the offense once Mark Colombo was fired and Dave DeGuglielmo was brought in. So that's when Judge started to take more of a hands-on role with the offense. So they moved away from outside zone. I'm not hiring Kevin Stefanski to run 11 personnel. I'm hiring Kevin Stefanski to run the offense that kicked ass from 2020 to 2022. But Clint Kubiak stuck to his guns, even with not a great offensive line in New Orleans and an interior offensive line for the Seattle Seahawks that isn't all that great. Even though Gray Zabel, I think, has the athleticism, the natural athleticism to fit in an outside zone. Charles Cross is athletic. Abraham Lucas, I think that offensive line does fit and can run an outside zone. They've done it well. They've been very explosive, both on the run and the pass. So that's why I'm a little higher on Clint Kubiak right now. But Kevin Stefanski was kind of like the godfather of it, along with Shanahan. So they're very close. And then Jesse Minter 4, Chris Shula 5, who I think will be. I think they can be good head coaches. I think Jesse Minter is going to take the Ravens job, and then Chris Shula. I was on the phone with Snacks, and he mentioned the Steelers. That very much makes sense for Chris Shula. Do you think we pick Caleb Downs with our first pick? Oh, I'm reading like old comments. What happened? The NFL is fun when the Giants are good. I agree, because I have fun when the Giants are good. More primetime games next year for John Harbaugh. Oh, my favorite commenter, Bob. Bob, it's been a while since you hated on me, man. What's going on? Ben Sauls is our answer, by the way. He's perfect. So, you know. Thoughts on Cardinal Tate as our first round pick? I think him and Malik Neighbors would be a powerhouse duo wide receivers. Yeah, I think we got to stop overthinking this thing of when an Ohio State wide receiver is available, kind of just take him, right? I feel like you overthought it a little bit with JSN because he wasn't the greatest athlete in the world, and also he had major injury question marks. But then, oh my God, he's like the best receiver in the league right now. And I don't even think that's a stretch to say after year 2 and just 1 year of like really, really good production. He's like insanely good. and you kind of just knew. I couldn't tell you if he was going to be a 1,700-yard receiver, but you just knew that he was going to be good because he's just a good wide receiver. Like, he's a good route runner. He plays the position of wide receiver very well. And I feel like Cardinal Tate does a similar type of thing where he doesn't like flash with like athleticism, but he's long. He's got long arms, and he can make contested catches, but he's also like he's a decent good route runner. And again, wide receiver from Ohio State, kind of don't overthink it. I think I like Caleb Downs better at this point. Process still needs to go on. I still need to watch more. But when the thought process of the number one pick was when that was a possibility, I started to do my work on like Ruben Bain, Carnell Tate, one of the off-ball linebackers from Ohio State, the other Arvell Reese, edge rusher, pseudo edge rusher, off-ball linebacker from Ohio State too. Started to do some work on those guys, and I think I walked away liking Caleb Downs the best, while also being really, really intrigued with Arvell Reese just as a football player and as a versatile chess piece. So, I think the fact that we had an in-person interview, and the fact John's touch soil says, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. So I agree. Antonio Pierce is also the head coach carousel. Jordan run on interview that he reported that his interview went well. And that's like the disaster scenario of you don't get Stefanski, you don't get Harbaugh, you don't get McCarthy, and that Antonio Pierce just like impressed them, and then they bring him in. Okay. The Miami O-lineman, there's two of them. I know their right tackle's good, and I think a lot of people are talking about his arm length, and like I don't know, Will Campbell at short arms. Even though I'm still I think Will Campbell's getting a little exposed on the playoffs a little bit because teams are starting to beat him with strength, and they realize that they can beat him off the punch. But Will Campbell's had a really good rookie year. Like there have been tackles that have had worse rookie years than Will Campbell. There's some linemen that have kind of beaten the short arm allegations over the last couple of years. So I think it depends what you do with Jermaine. No, you know what? No. If he's the best player available, take him. Doesn't matter if Jermaine Illuminor is under contract. You figure it out. You let the best man win. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. All right. That's it. That's all the comments. I've been going for an hour and a half. I typically like to keep these live streams short enough so people can kind of like rewatch, but that's not the case here. I appreciate everybody watching. May do this again tomorrow. I may do this again tomorrow during the day because I don't really have much going on during the day, and I may actually want to what is it called? Not do work and just live stream and just talk to you, and just that's doing something. It's talking to you. So I may go live in the middle of the day if it looks like things are trending in a direction, but we may also have to wait. Be the Giants. John Harbaugh watch. We're moving on. We go forward. Thanks for watching.